Hello, hello, hello. Are we there? Are we there? Are we here? Very good, very good. Hello to Vancouver. Hello, John Maxwell. Hello, Natalina. Hello, Polong. Brittany. Great. Can't see me because I haven't started the video yet, but good observation. I'm back. Okay. Hello, Lance. So anybody who has not shared their formula that they're taking yet, please, I encourage you to share it with us at some point. When you're ready to do that, let me know, let all of us know, okay? Because it's important. We want to give you that feedback, and I want to make sure that everybody is taking a formula on their own. So you're really experimenting with this Minjie stuff on yourself. That's very, very important. Um, we focused a lot on pathology and where pathology can take us both personally and then what we learn from that. But also I want to mention that another very important source of how we learn about things is stuff that excites us, stuff that we're into, things that we feel like exploring. That is also should be hopefully the primary way that we're learning about the things that we're learning about in life, is because we have the luxury to be able to explore our interests. And the bleed over from whatever we learn and through our exploration with our interests is really what winds up filtering into the wisdom in our knowledge base over time. So whatever it is that you're interested in, if you haven't allowed yourself to fully go into it and explore it, I really recommend doing that, because that's going to give depth and dimension to everything that you do in your practice. Okay, so I wanted to make sure to mention that it's not only we don't have to learn only through pathology and illness. Okay, we can learn through our exploration and our sense of adventure as well. Is a very important thing to do. Some of you have been studying with me for a long time. Remember that long time ago here, I'll share a screen with you that with my daughter. Hang on, where are we? With my daughter, I taught my, whoops, I want to share a screen. That's not happening. Here we go. I'll share the screen. Okay. Some of you remember that I taught my daughter how to free dive when she was a little baby. So we would go out free diving in the ocean from the time she was 4 years old. So from the time that she was very, very, very young, we taught her how to do that. And so that exploration of her doing that and just really loving doing that has led her into some incredible places, even though she just turned 18. And she just turned 18 and she's off on another adventure right now, which I will show you a little snapshot of that. So this is what she's doing right now. She's in Tahiti. Tara is in Tahiti, and she's free diving with migrating whales in Tahiti, and she's learning a tremendous amount doing that. And just because she happened to be able to free dive, and she's a very, very good free diver because she explored it from the time that she was a little girl, she just happened to get invited to go on this scientific exploration to Tahiti to spend the month of September going and free diving with migrating whales there. And the levels of interaction that they're having with these whales is amazing, absolutely amazing level of adventure, right? So sometimes we can get into these different things, and when we get into the things that we enjoy, it winds up opening all these doors that can lead to incredible, incredible and wonderful adventures that we would never have if we didn't just start exploring these things. So anyway, I just hold Tara up as a really great example of where these things can go and where the world wants to take us when we explore our passions and what we're into. Okay, so if any of you want to go diving with whales, I assure you, it is an amazing experience. I actually had that experience one time in Northern California, completely at random, and I can attest that it is one of the most profound experiences that we can possibly have. And so, anyway, Tara's out there enjoying that right now as we speak. Okay. All right. So back to the herbs. Let's get back into it here. Okay. So as promised, I said that we would start getting into the heart's relationship with these acrid, cool, exterior releasing herbs. So what are the herbs that go through the heart that are acrid, cool, and exterior releasing? Well, there aren't any. That's interesting. Well, why aren't there any? Because I would think that with all the focus that we have on the vexation that comes with those acrid, warm, exterior releasing herbs, right? That acrid, cool would come on in with something that would address the heart, but that doesn't happen. So that's interesting. So we want to learn everything that we can from these categories. Why is it? It's not because there aren't any herbs that might do that. Somewhere in the world there must be, but for some reason they're avoiding doing that directly. So how do we address that heart vexation when that's happening with these warm diseases? Because that's such a very important aspect of treating them. Okay, so interestingly, what were we talking about just a little bit ago? But I know I gave it away when we talked about it a few minutes ago, but that herb is, maybe I'll even share it with you. Share the screen. Yeah. Gagun. Why? Because of this, the Taiyang. Because that Taiyang quality. Taiyang means what? It means small intestine and the UB. Small intestine and the UB is the Taiyang. So we're going to have to drain the heart, or work with draining that heart through the small intestine, the UB channel. I mean, through the small intestine channel, okay? That's one way that we would be doing it. So, but there is a question, right? There is a question that I have anyway, when they talk about the Taiyang here, are they, when they say that Gagun goes through the Taiyang channel, does it really mean the entire Taiyang channel, or is it just referring to the UB? Well, if it just referred to the UB, why wouldn't they just say UB and not the entire Taiyang? I think it's the whole Taiyang, but I can't say with 100% surety. In any case, there's not such a Taiyang emphasis with any of the other acrid, cool, exterior releasing herbs. I imagine because once a pathology starts getting warmish, it's not really attacking the Taiyang so much, but it prefers to jump on over into the Yangming. And so we're going down the Yangming road. But anyway, it's interesting that Gagun again addresses that transition, okay? So, but remember, as Minjie practitioners, sure, we know that we can drain the heart fire and the heat away from the heart with the small intestine. But remember, if we look all the way back on our charts, our preferred way of doing it is what? Is through working with the gallbladder, isn't it? All right. So let's scan back and let's see if we have any. Remember Mao Zedong, right? Sweet neutral, the lung, liver, gallbladder, and the spleen, right? So Mao Zedong has got the gallbladder there. Let's see if anything else goes through the gallbladder. Manjingzi, remember, goes through the gallbladder. That might be it. Well, Chai Hu we know does, right? And not seeing any other gallbladders here. Mudze also, okay. Mudze also going in gallbladder. Mao Zedong, right? We were just talking about the Manjingzi. And I think that's it. And of course, the China, because we talked about that earlier. Yeah. Okay. So those are the herbs we're going to use to help to clear that that vexation when that happens. Okay. Remember, we always prefer to use the gallbladder. Not always, but frequently we prefer to use the gallbladder to drain that heat out. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up because it is interesting that there's such an emphasis on that vexation that happens with that heart heat. Okay, so let's go from small intestine. Again, let's stick with Taiyang. And next in the progression, we'll go, what are the UB herbs? So again, although they don't focus too much on the UB in this category, it does exist a little bit again with the Manjingzi. So somehow we need to use UB. If UB is affected, that UB channel is affected with the wind heat condition, exterior releasing, we got the Manjingzi. Okay. So it's easy to see how we can get Manjingzi involved with so many scenarios, can't we? It's kind of like the magic 12 of the herbs, if you look at it. Because we've got that Xiaoyang name relationship, we've got the Taiyang Yejing relationship, we've got the gallbladder liver Yaoli, we've got the clock opposite with the lung and the UB, we've got the clock neighbor with the Sanjiao and the gallbladder and the liver and the lung, we've got the Jianhou with the stomach and the UB. We've got a bunch of branch relationships in there, right? We've got the yin tiger with the gallbladder and the lung. We've got high pig also, which I don't know if we've covered yet, but that's UB and the Sanjiao, which would be 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So that's the high pig, UB and the Sanjiao. So UB and the Sanjiao related? Yeah, well, we know for sure they're related through this temporal aspect, this 2-hour time slot in the day. So that is a relationship, okay? Manjingzi. Then also we've got, remember our sort of pure, super interesting, this herb, Fu Ping, because it appears to be so like, one of those spicy warm herbs, one of those active warm herbs, because it goes to the lung and the UB and it's acrid, but it's not warm, it's cold. So it's super, super interesting. Right? So it's kind of a dramatic, spicy, cool statement right here in the middle of the category, right? But it's cold. So that's the one that we would use. So you bring a cold activation, release the exterior to the UB channel. So when would we use that? Wind heat in the UB channel. When do we have wind heat in the UB channel? Any situation that's looking like meningitis. Any situation that's looking like meningitis. Another thing to watch out for in the next couple of years, particularly if you live in the United States or any of its sort of affiliates, corporate affiliates, we should call it. One thing we can see when we look at the media with all this vaccine business that's been going on, vaccine madness that's been going on for the last almost 3 years now. The latest thing that we're seeing in the last few weeks is they're starting to talk about polio again, and they're beginning to increase a fear that polio is returning. And so we can expect in the next couple of years that they are going to be declaring that there's a polio outbreak and that everyone will have to be revaccinated for polio. That is my prediction. The writing is literally on the wall in the media. They're priming the public to believe that. Something to keep in mind about the polio vaccine when it originally came out, if you do your research and you look, because the polio vaccine is what is lauded by everybody of that generation, is what really saved the world. But if you actually look at the statistics on what was going on with polio at that time, polio had actually already tapered and was starting to go downhill before the introduction of the vaccine. Another important fact to realize is that they said that polio started magically disappearing as soon as they started giving the vaccine out, even though it was disappearing all over the world, even though they were only giving the vaccine in the United States originally. So that's kind of a telltale sign. Another thing that happened that many people are not aware of is that at the same time that they released those vaccines, what they did was they redefined the definition of polio. So many of the symptoms that previously were diagnostic of polio, they now included under the theme of meningitis. So what they did was they changed the diagnostic criteria of polio. So suddenly it looked like polio dropped. But if you look at a meningitis numbers at the same time, meningitis spiked at that very time. Well, it doesn't mean that meningitis suddenly appeared as polio was disappearing. What they did was they changed the definition of the term and the definition of the disease. So anyway, I just bring that up right now because we're talking about Fu Ping. Okay, so if we suddenly start seeing things like polio and meningitis, we may start using herbs like Fu Ping more and more. Now, it isn't to say that it's impossible for that disease to come back around, but we're being primed for that for some mysterious reason, even though there's actually no technical reason for that fear to be being promoted at this point. So anyway, just something to keep your eyes out for as we move forward. Okay. And again, Gagan is the other one in that category for the UB because we know it goes through the Taiyang. Okay. Now, just keep it on moving through the channels. How about the kidney? What are the kidney herbs that go through the in this acrid cool exterior releasing category? There are also no kidney herbs, so there are no heart herbs and there are no kidney herbs. Very interesting. So there's no Shaoyin involvement in this kind of therapy or in this kind of situation. Okay, we're staying away from both the heart and the kidney with acrid cool exterior releasing herbs. So. But interestingly, I can actually think of a bunch of ways that I would like to use acrid cool for both of those systems. But there's no reason we couldn't challenge those channels into being through some of our distal formulas and invoking those channels in through the herbs that we use. So it is possible to do. We just have to be very ninja with it. Okay, even though they might not specifically enter the heart or the kidney, we can bring them in using some of our other formula dynamics in ways we've gone into in other classes. Okay, how about pericardium? Pericardium is more in line with what we might think of in terms of these acrid cool situations, in terms of treating warm heat diseases that are attacking the exterior, because we're taught that warm heat does everything it can to proliferate and get into the body. But that's exactly when we use Chai Hu so that won't happen. Okay, so treating that Shaoyang level of disease so that the Chai Hu can reflect and deflect, get all that back out to the exterior, through the exterior, and out where it needs to be used, out of the body. Okay, so it's neutral to cooling. It's cleaning, right, because the bitterness. It's activating because the acridity. And it's moving to the exterior because that combination of the bitter and the acrid. Okay, remember that bitter, it does have a little bit of that dispersing, that sun quality. So that's what we're talking about there. Okay, even interestingly, we've got decent support for the pericardium here, don't we? Because in the pericardium, if we are looking to support that pericardium, we're looking for liver, we're looking for stomach, looking for sanjiao, we're looking for kidneys. So even though there's no stomach going on here with Chai Hu, maybe we'll want to throw it together with the Gagan, right? In that case, so we can get that Yang Ming activation also, because that stomach is doubly important for the pericardium because it has two different kinds of relationships, kind of like the gallbladder and the heart, right? All right, so then Sanjiao, what are the ears for the Sanjiao? Xiaoyang is so important for this category. We already covered them, Manjingzi and Chaihu. Okay, so both of them have a gallbladder and Sanjiao channels happening. Okay, so if we talk about the gallbladder channel, it's going to be the same thing. What are the herbs that are going to be involved again? Manjingzi, Mao Zedong for the gallbladder. Again, remember Muzei, we hunted those down earlier, and Chaihu. Okay, those all have gallbladder association, so we've used that for any kind of heart vexation. I know I went through those fast, but I did it because we've gone through them, right? Manjingzi, Mao Zedong, Muzei, and Chaihu. All right, so the Manjingzi is here. We'll do a little comparison between these, so we really get this whole gallbladder thing strongly. Manjingzi, Mao Zedong, Muzei, Chaihu. So then why do I go into these again and again and again? Because we use them in all kinds of non-evident ways that other practitioners would never use them. Because they're so useful, because we need to open tubes a lot, we need to release stuff a lot from all these different tissues. Can it all fit? Almost always. Almost all fits, okay. Because we got lung, liver, lung, liver, lung, liver, and all of them. Let's scrunch them together a little bit and see. Lung, liver, lung, liver, lung, liver, and all of them. And that, okay, let's just do this. Let's just take out the lung and the liver, and then we'll see what we're still looking at. I'll take out the lung, liver, and the lung, liver. And I'll take out, oh, we don't have lung, liver with the Chaihu. Okay. So that's important. So gallbladder, okay, gallbladder's in all of these. We know gallbladder's in all of them, okay? So let's take gallbladder out. We know gallbladder's in all of them. And we left liver in Chaihu because it has no lung. So just keep that in mind. Pericardium is in Chaihu. Any other pericardiums? No other pericardiums. Okay, so if we need pericardium involvement, if we really want to support the Sanjiao through the pericardium, we're going to be using Chaihu. Okay, and so that pericardium is going to have that extra support from the liver too. So Chaihu is strong for the pericardium. All right. So if we're talking Sanjiao directly, it's down to either Manjingzi or the Chaihu. But it's strongly supported with the Chaihu, and it's not strongly supported with the Manjingzi, would only be indirectly if you combine them through the pericardium via the stomach. Okay. Now, the differentiator of the Mao Zedong, remember it's got that sweet and the spleen. That's how we differentiate the Mao Zedong. And the Muzei, everything else disappeared. Right? So remember, it was just the lung, the liver, and the gallbladder. Okay, so lung, liver, and gallbladder for Muzei. I'll put them back in like that. Okay, like that. So that's the Muzei, sort of the classic lung, liver, gallbladder situation. Okay, and then the Chaihu, it's got that strong pericardium. Mao Zedong, you think the spleen, and then the Manjingzi, it's got these sort of various and sundry things with the Sanjiao, the stomach, and the UV in that way. Okay, like that. Okay, so we're going to shift gears, and I want to ask you now, what is the totality of the territory that's covered by this acrid, cool, exterior releasing category? What's the totality of the territory? Well, we got a lot of channels here. We've got almost all of them, except for what we mentioned. We got lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen, small intestine. Oh, so there's something happened here. Right? Okay, small intestine, UB. And something happened here. Pericardium, Sanjiao, gallbladder, and liver, right? So what are the holes in this category? The heart and the kidney. Heart and the kidney. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is just take a couple minutes, get out your paper and your pencil again, or your pencils. I want you to draw this whole territory and take a look at what it looks like, okay? So let's all draw it. It's a little long, just draw it quickly, okay? So we draw the lung, we draw the large intestine. Look where it goes. Then the stomach, oddly related with the large intestine. Let's do that, like that. Go through the stomach. Okay, remember that double line that goes in the stomach down the middle. Okay, good. And then the spleen starts up in the toe and then goes up the sides and then just below the axilla. And up there, crossing over in the genitals and the lower dantian area, coming up below the armpits, right? And then, we don't have any heart channel to connect with, but we have to go back out to the small intestine. It goes down the back, up and around over the shoulders, and up into the head, next to the eyes there. Oh, and then the UB picks it up and goes all the way down the back. All the way down the back. All the way down there to the tip of the little toe. Up, but then there's no way for it to connect back up into the chest because there's no kidney channel. So then we have to start with the pericardium somewhere in the chest and then going out the arms, out like that. And then Sanjiao comes from the tips of the fingers, goes on the medial aspect, comes in and goes up through the sides of the neck, goes around the sides of the ears, and connects up. We're doing it bilaterally. That's just because the way I'm drawing it, right? Up, and then the sides of the head, we pick up with the gallbladder, zigzags down the side of the body, all the way down to the feet. We do it on both sides, zigzagging all the way down, sides of the ribs, sides of where Brittany got stung with the wasp. There we go. And then finally back up to the liver, and we go back up into the chest. And we wind up in the chest, okay? So this is really important to draw these and sketch these out so we get an idea of the territory of the entire system of what the category is telling us, how we're working with the category. We want to know both the channels that the category is working with, and also we want to know what the holes in the category are. So we want two things. We want to learn from what the category is telling us. So this category is telling us, don't go into the area of Shaoyan if you're treating in this way. Probably because they want to conserve Jing and they don't want to activate things unnecessarily and they don't want to cool things down. We definitely don't want to disperse our heart and our kidney energies. We don't want to do that. So all the herbs stay away from doing that. But sometimes we need to bend the rules as Mingjie practitioners. We want to bend the rules. We need to bend the rules, even if it's just like a little bit of a fudge, just for a little bit of time. Then we'll do that. So sometimes we have to use these herbs in certain specific situations to liberate stagnation, hot stagnation from these areas. We need to do it. And so when that happens, that's what we do. Okay. So that's when we'll use it. Okay. All right. So we're going to begin to practice formulas that are based on our acrid cool exterior releasing formulas. But I think what I want to do is, because that's a big can of worms to open up, if there aren't any questions, let's take our break for lunch a little bit early. and then we'll come back in an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, and that way we don't open up that can of worms before lunch. So let's just sit with everything we've done here and think about those holes in the category over lunch, and then we'll come back after lunch. Does that sound good, Shant? You all prepared for that? Is everybody prepared for it? Okay. Okay, cool. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so I'll see you in an hour and 10 minutes. All right,